And then I did the Mattel Dreammobile,
Yeah,
which was
it's
the
a big one.
first, yeah, the first car that Mattel made back in 1953, I think, something like that. And it was me just, going through those old catalogs or going through the archives, which I love doing. I love finding all the old toy ideas. And I was like, hey,
Yeah,
how come we've never made like the first Mattel car as like a heritage thing? And they're like, oh
yeah,
yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do it. So that was for
yeah.
the 75th anniversary.
Hello and welcome to the Square Corner podcast. I am your host, JayCee Square, where I'll be interviewing many guests from the Hot Wheels community and beyond. Today's guest I have with me is senior Hot Wheels designer for skate, tracks, and much more. It's Dr. Neal, otherwise known as Neal Smith. Welcome on. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Oh man, it's great. It's just funny. I only learned about you recently from hearing about you from my mom's friend who saw one of my Hot Wheels skates and thought, I know the guy who does that. And I thought, really? And sent me your stuff and said, hey, go talk to him. So I said, okay, sure, I will. And you were really great. You were really open to coming on, and big Hot Wheels YouTuber here, so I had to have you on and just happy to showcase some of the amazing designers such as yourself.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, it's a small world. I know I've got a lot of family out in Texas, so it's neat that we were able
Sweet.
to connect and run into each other.
Right, right. And it worked out. For those that don't know who you are, what do you do at Hot Wheels?
I'm a senior designer in the Hot Wheels Tracks and Playsets team. I've been there going on 10 years now, so
Wow.
I've probably got about 100 different products out on the market, or have been out on the market at this point. So it's a lot of fun. I work on a lot of different lines. I've done some diecast cars, but that is a separate team, and we can go into a little bit about that later. But
Yeah,
I've been
sure.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I looked at your was it the Hot Wheels wiki page, right? And I'm like, man, what does he do? He's got all sorts of stuff here. You got track sets, monster trucks, Hot Wheels skate, and then of course you have a couple of little diecast cars that we'll get into later.
Yeah, I've
Um,
got to
so
edit that wiki, I'm sure.
hey, you know what? I know some of the guys that edit it, so I'm sure they would be happy to update some of that information. Definitely, we always want more accurate information up there, for sure. So let's start at the beginning and work our way up. What did you do before Hot Wheels? What led you to go work for Hot Wheels? And what's that journey?
It's been a long journey. I've got a probably 20 years experience of being a professional creative. It started early on in high school. I was the star art student, just doing things, and I preferred mixed medium. So it's not just drawing, but like building models. I liked working with my hands, and I knew that there was such a thing called a starving artist. So I never wanted to like aspire to be an artist. So it was me fumbling around for a long time trying to figure out, okay, so I'm talented, but what do I do with that talent? Like,
Mm,
I don't want to be an artist. And I was working, I think, for a neighbor doing like some manufacturing. They had a little factory. And I started looking into like, you know, design and like making things.
mm,
So like who makes the things that I'm making, and kind of it led me down this journey called industrial design.
mm,
And that's where, all the products and stuff that you're touching that we're using right now on the computer were all designed by industrial designers or product designers. And I was like, okay, that sounds like it's an employable skill rather than me just making pretty things for people. So
yeah.
um, I started off kind of doing I wanted to work in film. So I did a lot of studio work with studios in Orange County, and I got to work on that TV show Yo Gabba Gabba.
Hmm.
I've done productions for Nickelodeon. I've got to, work with the SpongeBob people, and just random spots here and there. And then I went back to school uh, for, what's it? Yeah, product design at Art Center up in Pasadena. and I, always knew I wanted to do entertainment or toys or something. And they had an entertainment degree, but I stuck with the product because like I want that physical connection with
Mm.
things. That's where I really liked it. And yeah, they went through school. I saw that Mattel had a internship open up, so I signed up for that internship. I got in. I blew the other interns out of the water,
Sweet.
um, and they snatched me up right after school. So before that, it was me floundering around doing different design, graphic design, web page, film, practical effects, props, and then, got into product design and then jumped straight into Mattel. And I've been there since 2013 is when I
Wow.
started. So,
Wow. What a journey.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Uh, so I mean, so what did you end up doing at Mattel for Hot Wheels first? Did you start working on track sets first or monster truck stuff first? Because I know that's before they probably lost the license to Monster Jam. There's a lot of stuff like that.
That was, yeah, I
Um,
started a few years before they lost the license. But I
okay.
started off just doing basic track sets. Something called like Zombie Run. I did some Star Wars play sets,
Mm,
kind of just like the basic $10 assortments while I
yeah.
was cutting my teeth, is what they call it.
Mm.
Um, and then the company went through some like growth issues, and a bunch of people left, and I stayed, and I was kind of like alone in the room, like, what do I do? Um, but I've made connections with all the like grandfathers of toys, or not
Mm,
not grandfathers, but like the dudes that made all the toys that you and I played with growing up. And I know that there's a
yeah.
difference between our age group, but they, Titans, and I'll give you their names, later at some point, that have been
Mm-hmm.
making toys for 30, 40 years like that.
Whew.
So
Yeah.
I connected with them. They took me under their wing. I go to their Christmas parties, and so the new design VP did an all call for, does anyone know what Minecraft is? And I just
Mm.
raised my hand, and I was like,
Yeah.
I play Minecraft. And she's like, cool, you're on the team. So I was like, all right, awesome. This is going to be weird, like Hot Wheels and Minecraft. And
Yeah.
so after like doing all these little $10 sets, I was put on this huge, awesome brand. And then that's where I started working on entertainment licenses. And I've,
Mm.
really enjoyed that. And that's helped my career a lot, networking with
Yeah.
Minecraft and, Star Wars and Tony Hawk. And during one of the
Whew.
design meetings, the action figure team, who was already settled and doing those minifigures, they were putting together a trip to go to Sweden. And I just raised my hand during this meeting, and I said, I want
Mm.
to go to Sweden. And they all just kind of looked at me and chuckled and said, okay, you're in. Like,
That's sweet. That's sweet.
so yeah, I got to go to Sweden, and I got to pitch all the Minecraft stuff for Hot Wheels. And yeah, that was my first big jump.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay. And you actually sent me one of the sketches for the Gast like roller coaster thing.
yeah,
And I saw on your Instagram post you were like, I was bashing my head in on this one a little because it's not like a normal Hot Wheels track set. It's for the minecart sort of, I
yeah.
guess.
So
Uh,
I know you'd mentioned Brian kind of working on his mine
yeah,
cart, and so I
yeah.
was on that, that trip, that whole design journey, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I was the one that pushed for it, but I really pushed for having those minifigures that already existed in another part of the building, and
Yeah.
pulling it into the Hot Wheels and being like, look, we can kill two birds with one stone and actually do something really cool if we really push, our design to get it to work with the action figures. And you
Mm-hmm.
can place the little Minecraft minifigures in all the mine carts. And we went
Mm.
through a lot of different iterations of that mine cart. And Minecraft, or the Minecraft Mojang, was very particular about making sure that we stick to the license. And it,
Yeah.
because we had like ideas of like, oh, what if the figures are fixed and they move when you move the minecart, and just different things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And they're like, that they don't do that in the game.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
where a lot of it helped being that I played Minecraft. I helped the team massage the ideas into like, okay, well, it doesn't do this, but it does this. Let's go try this route.
Right.
Um, just, and that's where the product design education comes in handy is being able to merge like that fantasy into like the physical realm.
Mm-hmm.
And
And what's the difference between say the Minecraft stuff and normal Hot Wheels diecasts? Because they're both 1/64th, but you know, I don't know if I'm allowed to show this one, the Spider Slap. Am I allowed to show that?
oh, we you can do it. I mean, that was just basically a doodle idea.
Okay.
Like it.
Well, there you go.
So
Something like Spider Slap, where it's just like, you know, you're hitting the car into a spider or something like that. Um, what is the difference in designing for just the plain, you know, 1/64s compared to the Minecraft stuff?
so the Minecraft stuff, we had to tune it specifically to work with the carts,
Mm-hmm.
and not just a cart, but a cart that had a figure in it.
Yeah.
Um, and when you tune, the sets, you have to make sure that the cars work with it. There's, I don't know if you know this, but there's different Hot Wheels are graded on like a T4,
Yeah,
T1
yeah, yeah.
system,
I have heard
right?
that. Yeah.
So, and I am not the best at remembering what the different tiers are. I just know what they
Mm-hmm.
look like. So, there are cars that are track compatible, and
Mm-hmm.
there are cars that are not. And it slides on that scale of compatibility. Like the character cars, we will never like try and force Yoda to work on any one of the track sets because it's just not gonna work. So
Right.
we'll use that T grading scale and tune the sets to make sure that it works up to a T3 or a T2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's not necessarily like we don't advertise it, but if you get into Hot Wheels like you do, you've heard of it and you've seen it. And
Yeah.
so what was different about the Minecraft stuff is it had to be tuned to that one specific car. And if the
Mm.
other Hot Wheels worked with it, great.
If
That's
not,
okay.
who cares? I
Yeah.
guess.
And the one that killed me, and it's the hardest project I ever had to do, was a track blocks, the Minecraft track blocks. So they were squares, and you can look it up on Google or Amazon. There's still some of
Mm-hmm.
them floating around.
Ding, da, ding, da, ding, ding, da, ding.
So it was like taking a square, and then you have to move that square like in different positions, and that
Oh,
that
okay.
minecart has to go through. And it was such a nightmare because then we stacked multiple squares on top of it, and all those
Yeah.
squares had to flow together. Um, yeah, but we made it work. I haven't had to do anything that difficult since then, and that was
Hmm.
very early in my career.
I see. I
Um,
see. And now, what is the difference between? Because you now do monster truck stuff too.
uh, I
What's
I was I did do monster trucks.
Oh, okay. And
The phys-
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm interrupting. There's like a little delay for those that are listening. There's a little delay. So.
the physics on a monster truck are a lot different than the cars. So we never really had to go crazy with the tuning. It was more our keyword was smashing and crashing. So
Hmm.
you just pound that sucker and it goes. So as
Yeah.
long as it was just like brute force physics, it was fine. And it was all about kind of making the most of the plastic. How do we make it the most spectacular? How do we,
Okay.
we want it to explode.
Right.
We want it to be a big show and get that serotonin. Like, oh wow, let's
Yeah.
do it again. Oh wow, let's do it again.
Boom. Yeah.
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 So that
Or
was
they.
the
All
difference
right.
between
Reload.
monster trucks.
Reload. 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 Yeah. I see what you
Yeah.
mean. That's cool. And I think what was I gonna say? Oh, the creature design is some of my favorite from the monster trucks. Um, like as a Hot Wheels World Race Acceleracers fan, and I think most people that are fans of me, they'll understand that. Um, all the cool creatures, I'm always impressed by what y'all do because y'all get all these new stuff. Do y'all ever take inspiration from before creatures, or do y'all always come up with your new stuff or new creatures and everything?
It kind of depends on, well, we do a lot of like asking questions and checking what the market wants and how things are selling, and that's just kind of like basic design, evolution. uh, you got to look at what works and what doesn't work. So
Mm-hmm.
we will follow kind of like what we think kids want to play with. And we try not to make things too scary.
Yeah.
Like kids don't really like spiders. I still don't like
You
spiders,
know
but
what's interesting
so
about that though is they made a whole video game level in Hot Wheels about spiders, and we loved it. I don't know, maybe it's just a different generation.
yeah, it yeah, it might be different feedback if some
Mm,
kids really liked the spiders but other kids didn't, and we wanted to find a middle ground where both parties want to follow.
yeah.
um but yeah, we will do kind of like our best to figure out like what's the most friendly for like how do we get everyone to enjoy the design and not cut people out, I guess would be
Mm,
the best answer
yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
um
Is there any chance? I don't know if this is ever possible. Is there any chance you'd ever try to pitch one of the Acceleracers monsters and be like, "Yeah, this one could work, maybe." I don't know. I sent you some. I don't know if you'd
yeah.
ever care about them though.
No, I looked at them, and Acceleracers didn't come out when I was kind of watching, you know,
Yeah.
TV or that. I was like in between my first school and my second school, and that whole discovery journey in my age age range.
Mhm.
And I'd always seen it on, but I never knew kind of like what was going on. And I've tried to follow it. And even before our podcast, I was like, okay, I should learn more about Acceleracers and pick up on all the stuff that I missed, because I see it around the office, and I run into it
Oh,
a lot.
okay.
Um, and looking on YouTube, it is so difficult to sift out what is like fan made and what is actual
Oh
lore.
man. Oh man.
And
Don't get me started.
I had no idea what I was walking into. And so
Yeah.
I put on some videos like of the original series to watch, and I think the ones that I found on YouTube were like the shorts.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like,
some of the shorts still exist, yeah.
so yeah, a bunch of the shorts, and I was like, well, wait, what happened? Like, what there's like, but then I'd watch these video essays, and I'm like, I didn't pick up on any of that.
Yeah, yeah. So one thing that's interesting is maybe a year ago you could have watched them all on YouTube just fine, but it was the some hit entertainment Mattel basically started just saying, "Hey, we have this IP now. Let's throw it out there and let YouTube take care of our copyright issue, I guess." And so a lot of the videos and even fan made stuff got hit by it, and so it's a big debacle for us as fans because we're like, okay, now we can't watch the movies, and some of our fan content got hit, which is like fair use stuff. So I don't know what to do. Still don't know what to do. We're just sort of running through that. But yeah, it's sort of hard to find, and so I can send you some ways to watch the movies. But it's like on an archive, like it's on like web archive. It's like
Okay.
really crusty looking, but at least you'll actually be able to watch them.
Yeah, and
Because
I'm sure, like, I know I can pick up some stuff around the office and watch it, but I was trying to do like quick internet historian catching up the past few
yeah,
weeks, and um I have daughters, and they don't want to sit through and watch that
it's
with
fair. It's fair. It's fair. I don't blame
um
them. But hey, I have two sisters. I forced myself to watch the Barbie movies with my sisters because then they'd watch the Hot Wheels movies with me. So it was a
I've
trade
seen
off,
those.
you know?
Yeah. But yeah, just from what, like I said, I've seen a bunch of the Accelerator stuff, and I know some of the original, designers who
Mm-hmm.
worked on it, and I can hit them up and ask them if, and we'll chat later about that if they want to talk to you
Hey,
about it. But
that would be
um,
cool. No worries.
so so no, I'm familiar with a lot of the Accelerator baddies and whatnot, just from them being around the office. And we do explore those themes, but I don't think that we would use their names if they were
Mm.
named.
Yeah,
We've done
yeah.
slime monsters before. We've done different types of skeletons before, so they'll
Mm-hmm.
show up just as general themes. But specifically, I don't think that we would revisit that IP unless it was going for the Acceleracers line again,
Yeah,
if
that
that
makes
makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know. It's, you know, little Easter eggs. I don't mind little
Yeah,
Easter eggs every now and
we
then, you know.
still do use the original Acceleracer designs a lot.
Really?
I
Wow.
Yeah, one of the monster truck sets, the downhill race and go that I designed, has an RD5 or an RD8 in it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
really like those the '08 and the '05. I really like them. They're just like
Mm-hmm.
stout little like cool cars. And then the jackhammer, I think I really just like that design.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
jackhammer.
my kind of design camp is I really like the old stuff mixed in with like I don't know, different, like we call it like architecture aesthetics, like
Mm.
blown up engines or like huge
Oh yeah.
pipes and rods, and like taking an original like Chevy Nomad but then like redesigning the front end or the roof of the car. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that rat rod future aesthetic.
Yeah.
So yeah, jackhammer was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. All right. So I think you'd be Metal Maniac then, if the audience is gonna label you a Metal Maniac, it's okay. Stuff
Okay.
like Hollowback. You got Rolling Thunder. You know, it's like an Escalade with two engines in it. It's ridiculous. You know.
Yeah.
So that's definitely really cool.
And I saw you did a video on the unreleased toys for it.
Yeah. Yeah. We
So
did do that.
I, I
Um.
I love going digging through the archives and finding out some of that stuff. So I know all the catalogs. I looked them up to see if there's anything you didn't
Mm,
cover, because the catalogs you can get off eBay, right? So
right. Right. That's what
we
happened with that other one. We found
yeah,
it on
and
eBay, and
that's how
boom.
so many people kind of like revive these old toy lines, is they'll get the old toy catalogs, and they'll go like, oh, that was unreleased, or oh, that was never
Yeah.
released, or
Yeah.
and then they'll hype up the internet, and then we'll get an exclusive or whatnot. So
I'm hoping so. Please, Mattel, please. I'm over here, you know. Hi, what's up? My name JayCee squared. You know,
you
we can do
have the
this.
pictures. You guys could probably do your own 3D project.
You
Like,
know, you'd be surprised. Actually, here, hold up. I got one right now. From up. I'm gonna get tangled in my thing. We did do a Vert Wheeler. This is by Lee Felipe. If those that follow my channel, they'll find out pretty quickly. This was an unreleased motorcycle,
I saw
and
that guy on the.
someone,
Yeah.
yeah, someone redid it entirely, and he fell down. That's okay. I'll fix him later. But yeah, that's Vert Wheeler on the bike and everything, and
Yeah.
did a great job, Lee Felipe, and that's all 3D printed and painted and stuff. So definitely the customizers are insanely good at what they do, and but there is that always itch to want a little bit of officialness to it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of buying like redesigns of, fan made redesigns on
Yeah,
something.
it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
Um, but we don't have to stay on accelerators because you didn't even work on that. Let's let's move on into some of the actual Hot Wheels diecast design you've done. Um,
Yeah.
how much work have you been able to do on diecast? I know I only see two on the wiki, and definitely let's talk about them.
Okay. I've done more than two, and I've helped out on a few.
Okay.
The Street Wiener was one that I made. I was an intern when I came up with that idea, but it took
Oh.
it took a few years to get it out on the market. And what happened with that is what Ryu told me was, it's a really popular idea, and marketing wants us to push doing more like kid themed fun stuff like this hot dog car, and that's where you kind of got like the taco Hot Wheels,
Oh,
the
the Car
donut
de
Hot
Asada.
Wheels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that one.
The one that blows bubbles, the
Mm.
wrench one,
Yeah.
came from that, idea that I came up with as an intern. And that wasn't the only food car I made. I made a whole page of them. So that
Oh.
kept coming back up, back in, a few years ago. And then it evolved into what kind of you see now with all the goofy, weird stuff. But according to Ryu, and that's kind of where everything started. Um, and he helped me with that car. Since it was my first diecast car,
Mm-hmm.
I partnered with someone who had already been doing diecast for years. So we're
Yeah.
on the wiki together for that one. And then I did the Mattel Dreammobile,
Yeah.
which was
That's
the
a cool one.
first. yeah, the first car that Mattel made back in 1953, I think, something like that.
Mm.
And it was me just, going through those old catalogs or going through the archives, which I love doing. I love finding all the old toy ideas. And I was like, hey,
Yeah.
how come we've never made like the first Mattel car as like a heritage thing? And they're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do it. So that was for
Yeah.
the 75th anniversary. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
uh, and then I let's see. I've done a few designs that haven't made it out just because
Okay.
being not an official diecast designer, you have to wait for your turn and ask them politely, and if they're overloaded with work and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
please, we need help,
Yeah.
like then you can partner or you can submit your idea. But it is like it's an exclusive club, man. It's
I see.
um so yeah, and then I've done the was it Bear Devil for monster
Oh.
trucks. So
Okay.
the bear truck, if you look that one up, and it's got a few decos on it that are cool. And let's see if I have a few castings up here on my shelf. Yeah, so it's just kind of me generally. Those are the three ones that made it out to the market. I
Gotcha.
did inspire the monster truck bat car that came, or the bat monster truck.
Mm.
And the one that I had designed was basically Vampira 2 as a Hot Wheels monster truck. And then they went, okay, this is a cool idea, but we need to update it because the Vampira looks, too retro for the line. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, that's why I liked it. That was one of my first Hot Wheels cars. So
Yeah.
I did it that way. So we had one of the diecast designers kind of redesign it. So I started the conversation on that one, and there's a lot of instances where you just bring up ideas in a brainstorm, or you do it
Mm-hmm.
halfway, and then someone else will take it the full way, and we'll
Yeah.
have different designers, diecast designers, get playset ideas, and we'll work backwards like that. So
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I mean, I was talking to Eric about what he did in like 2005 and stuff, and I asked him on one specific case on one diecast. I think it was the Civic. He said there were like 5 people involved in that one. He's like, yeah, this person came up with the drawing. This person got the license. This guy, he's the one that actually got the diecast look, and then I did this part, and this is the deco. It's all over the place. So
yeah,
definitely
so
makes sense.
that's why like you're always like, I can't say that I'm the creator or I'm the
Mm,
designer because there's so many different hands that help you along the way,
mm.
and then to just have one name pop up on the wiki it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, what about the other 100 people? So
True. True.
yeah.
I did see you did that Mattel Dreammobile video. Like you had one of the actual. Was that actually yours
No,
or
we have a toy archive, so we can pull and look at old toys
Oh.
and stuff. So, um, I got it, like designers get to go look at the cars and make the
Oh,
design. I
cool.
got to look at the little guy and make it, but
Yeah.
it was pretty big.
It's like
It
a
was that big.
1/24th or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
a
have
little bit
this.
bigger than that, but yeah. And
Maybe
that
this.
was
I don't know. That's maybe bigger than this
larger than
actually.
that. So, but
Larger than this.
people get the idea. But yeah, I will make videos like that a lot to pitch my ideas, and
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty much my pitch idea for that concept. And since it was all pretty much just out there for anybody to research, like, oh, might as well just make a
Yeah.
video on it and have fun. And I got Bruce Pascal. I know he's a big name
Yeah.
in the Hot Wheels. So
Definitely.
I contacted him. He had the original wood block version of it.
What? How
And
do you...
he sent me pictures and he's like, "Here, does this help?" And I'm like,
That's
"Yeah,
crazy.
that's cool. Let's look at them."
What?
So,
That's so
um,
cool. I know he's
yeah.
opening up a museum there in New York now. That'll
Yeah.
probably show off a lot of that stuff. I hope to go one day. Uh, but they got a lot of Dior 2 stuff. My favorite's the Dior 2. So he's got like the original wood of that, and I'm like, I want that. Want that, but I know I can't have it because you have it, and that's just not gonna happen.
I, yeah. I didn't. he's got a lot of stuff there. I'm like, hi. He's come to speak at the design center where we're at a bunch of times, and just kind of
Yeah.
sharing old stories. There's a lot of people that come to share, oh, this is what it used to be like, or here's this,
Hmm.
or kind of to get everyone interested in the history and inspire some stuff
Yeah.
out of you. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, what got you into doing YouTube in the first place? Because obviously, I don't see many designers do YouTube. It's or any social media for that matter. I guess.
There is. It was just kind of like the digital age of just oversharing, I guess.
Mm.
Everyone had Instagrams and like Facebooks, and as being having a background in film, I just wanted to keep my editing skills up, or my lighting skill. Just like I needed to do more than what I was doing just creatively, so I just started playing around with YouTube and seeing if people were interested or not. Because
Hmm.
me being like a toy history buff, I want to know kind of like all the stories that went into the toys I played with, or the TV shows I watched. So I
Yeah.
watched a lot of those channels. I really like LGR. That guy. He just does old
I'm not. I'm
computer.
not sure who that is, but I'll
It
look it up.
he does old computer reviews. So
Okay.
just kind of like channels like that, and I was like, oh well, I'm sure people would like to know toy history if I can share it. So yeah, I mean, it's
Sweet.
nothing crazy. It's not like, yeah, just little side stories. This is where this idea came from, or
Yeah.
it looked like this, and by the time it was made, it looked like that, and people
Yeah.
dig it. It's just adds more to the story and the history of things.
Yeah. Definitely. I always want stuff to be because everyone always wants to know stuff behind their favorite diecasts, especially
Yeah,
who designed it, what's the story behind it, especially DR2, of course, Twin Mill, the big ones,
yeah.
but even the small ones. Uh,
And I would like to do a lot more videos, but I just don't have time. It's
it's
with
fair.
everything I've got going on and a full-time job, and this was just like a hobby started for fun. And but
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I'm friends with all those old guys who love sharing, just the story, because that's their life work. It's really
Yeah.
fun, and they get excited because we're not celebrities, so we don't get to talk about the things that we do. We're
Mm-hmm.
hyper passionate about it, and there's like tons of people had this toy. It's like, oh, I designed this little piece of plastic, and
That
50,000,
everyone played
100,
with.
100,000 people had this toy,
Gosh.
but they never know who made it. No one talks about
Yeah.
it, so they get excited to share that info. And it's like, okay, if maybe I didn't design this toy, but I know the guy who did, and if I can tell his story, that's awesome. And
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. One thing I did remember, I saw. I don't remember how I found the link. It was Monster Trucks. How it was Monster Trucks, and it was like going through the design center and talking to you and Mario and let me see if I got Brandon Vituski. I always feel like I mess up his name, and I was just like, where? Why does this only have 200 views? What's going on? I don't know what's going on with that. What's up?
yeah, it was like a Hot Wheels live, or Hot Wheels Monster Jam live or something, and they
Hmm.
do lots of little snippets and little cameras going to the design center type deal, and those are always fun. But yeah, they're not easy to find.
Yeah,
I
I don't
remember
get
like
it.
years and years ago, I was listening to like Art Bell in the middle of the night, and he does these like alien goofy podcast, like old school on
Mm.
the radio, and they had the designer of Transformers on because he wrote a zombie apocalypse comic book, and that just always stuck out to me. It was like, oh, that's cool. Like the Transformers designer, and he's doing other things. I kind of want to
Mm.
hear about the Transformers and the zombie like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're little. It's like little celebrity that don't get talked about much. So that was,
Mm.
just did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I hope to make that a little less. I want all y'all to be celebrities. I'm over here like everyone should be a celebrity over here. They made the best stuff. Hot Wheels makes the best stuff. I don't know. That's just me. But let's get on to the main event for me at least. Uh, Bringing a little bit of a fight to Tech Deck. What caused Hot Wheels to went into the fingerboarding business? And with Tony Hawk, you got to meet and work with for this?
Yeah. I mean, the backstory, it has some history. Um, I'll let the history books talk about that one when it comes up. But I do like to taunt Spin Master because this is the second line that I was the lead designer on that I took
Mm-hmm.
them on with. Because as soon as I was working, I just started working on Monster Jam, and then they cut the license with it, and then I was now
Right.
directly competing with Spin Master. And then
Right.
so that was the first one. I think I did a pretty good job with taking them on. And then I got tapped on the shoulder for like, hey, I know you know how to fingerboard because I used to bring in fingerboards, and there
Okay.
was only two other, me and another guy in the design group that knew how to fingerboard, and we would bring in our fingerboards and just have little battles, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want to do fingerboards. You're the designer, and I'm like, cool, I can do this. So that was the second
Sweet.
time I took on Spin Master. And I know I've tried to connect with Monster Jam OCG because he's a diecast monster truck YouTuber,
Mm.
but we were always like, maybe because we're competing, we shouldn't. But
Oh.
but I've talked with him every once in a while, and yeah, I was trying to connect with like fingerboarders on YouTube, but there's not really. I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't really an easy bridge to
Mm-hmm.
to make with that being from Hot Wheels, and fingerboarding was so odd. But yeah, I just started doing it. I knew how to fingerboard, mocking up stuff, doing 3D prints, and then skating on them, which is really cool because most people don't have that ability to just print something out in a 1-to-1 scale and then
Mm-hmm.
playing with it, a day or two after you come up with the idea in your head.
That's
So
cool.
I was pumping out shape after shape after shape. I was looking at what existed, what, could be. I was looking at, what has Tech Deck been doing, and then how can I do it different? And
Mm-hmm.
they went for realism, so we decided to throw a curveball and go for fantasy.
Yeah.
And Hot Wheels is just really good at storytelling. So,
Mm-hmm.
going to an aquarium or going to an
Yeah.
amusement park and skateboarding on that, as opposed to here's a half pipe, or here is a 1-to-1 replica of the 2013 Olympic
Yeah.
stadium. I'm just kind of putting words
Yeah.
together, but you get what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
kind of
Right.
like you want to get that the kids flash that, like, oh, that's cool, I want that. There's that 3-second read on shelf where you got to like catch people's attention. So putting that next to Tech Deck and the play sets, and just having kid friendly graphics on the skateboards,
Mm-hmm.
we went after them, and we're doing, I think, a decent job. And to your point, like I know you said in your upfront when you sent me an email, you didn't know how to
Yeah.
fingerboard.
I still don't really know. I just flip it every now
So
and
yeah,
then.
our age group doesn't really know how to fingerboard either. So we were like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how do we make this accessible for everyone? And we came up with the idea of like the shoes.
Yeah.
So, you're gonna put them on your fingers to fingerboard. Why not make them like shoes? And it was just kind of like a duh. How come no one has thought of that idea? And you can get fingerboard shoes, but they're not attached to the boards. And it's
Mm.
actually like I could not figure out how to fingerboard with those shoes because it's such a tactile thing. But I know people do it, so
Yeah.
we're like, hey, we need to attach the shoes to the board, and then we need to make sure that every time you buy a board, it's got shoes in it.
Mm.
So, if all the Hot Wheels fingerboards that you buy have shoes with them, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
have a whole cup of them.
yeah,
This is my cup of Hot Wheels skates, and yeah, I have a lot because I just love the graphics on them, especially. I'm
yeah,
a huge fan of Hot Wheels graphic design, so I just get to collect them as much as for that at least.
yeah. So
Like I
yeah,
love this with the pink. That is so cool. It's just cool.
Mario and Jeremy did all the graphics there for you on that.
Ah, okay.
Those are
They
two Hot Wheels heavyweights. And I tried doing a few skateboard designs, and one of them I did was really funny. I thought it was great, and people in the office thought it was funny. But then we sent it because we had to get everything approved by Tony Hawk's people because we did a
Oh, okay.
co-branding.
Mm-hmm.
And he is like, this one looks like a hostage situation. I was like, no, my favorite deck design got canceled by Tony.
Oh no.
um, and it was like, I don't know, kind of like it was like a goblin with like goggles on, kind of like a
Mm.
World of
Yeah,
Warcraft,
yeah,
and
yeah.
but he was tied onto this skateboard at the bottom and just like, "Ee." So it was like
Okay.
how they would tie themselves up to the rockets in that
Mm-hmm.
game. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like they're just tied onto the skateboard and then jamming on. And he's like, no, that
It looks weird.
no on that one. Um, but I was just so busy trying to crank out the shoes and the designs, and so I was like, okay, Mario, you handle the graphics.
Yeah, he did
um,
great, honestly. I
yeah, he
love
did a
every
good
single
job.
one of them. I think
So
one of my favorites was the was it the anglerfish one? I love the
yeah,
anglerfish. That thing
that
is
one was a good
so
one.
cool. Yeah. Didn't mean to
Uh,
interrupt, sorry.
no, my favorite one was the hamburger one. It was
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And was there's some other stories about all that stuff. Yeah. So in the commercials, I wrote the scripts for the commercials and the YouTube shorts because I had experience just growing up in Southern California, surfing and skating, and I was kind of
Mhm.
like I knew what that brand culture was, and some ways it worked against me because it is a little edgy, right? But we're working with
Yeah.
kids, so I had to dial back my enthusiasm and kind of
Mhm.
bring it down a little bit. But I was the talent in the YouTube shorts and commercials. There was one other like finger model that we
Yeah.
hired, and I had to teach her how to fingerboard. But when it came to doing the tricks, like I said, there's only two people in the design area that knew how to fingerboard. So I went into the studio and I was the talent for the commercials and
Oh,
whatnot.
that's cool.
So,
I had
and
no
I think
idea.
I posted the kickflip on my erratic
Okay, that's the one I
Instagram.
was trying to learn. I didn't know that was an official thing. I was just watching and I was like, how did he do this? I was trying to figure it out. I could not figure it out.
It is difficult. Like, and then I don't even know how to explain it because it's like muscle memory. Like,
Mhm.
how do you verbally explain how to? I'm gonna say ride a bike or surf a surfboard,
Yeah.
but like I don't know.
Yeah.
You
I
learn
don't
it
know
and
how
then
to
you never
surf or
forget it.
anything. And it's funny
um,
because like with Vert Wheeler, I dress up as him. He's a surfer, he's a skater, and I feel like people would probably think I know how to do those things, and I have no idea. Like I was very terrible at skating. I still don't know really how to skate. I would love to learn. And surfing, well, we just have Galveston, and that doesn't really have any waves, so
yeah,
like doesn't really, it's not a learning environment.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, that was fun. Kind of little background on Hot Wheels Skate. Um, and if you want some other like Hot Wheels hidden lore, do you remember all the Street Fighter cars that we came out with?
Yeah, a couple of them.
That came about because I had a Street Fighter arcade machine that I brought into the design building. And every
Oh.
day for like a year, we would get people coming up and playing Street Fighter with us. So then finally, like all the designers are like, we should do Street Fighter cars. So there's
Too
all
funny.
kinds of little, background stories going around like that, whether it's fingerboarding or Monster Jam or Street Fighter character
Yeah.
cars or, um, we've yeah, some stuff doesn't
Very
make it
cool.
out to the market, and some stuff does, and it's just like, uh,
Right. Right. Hey, but it's still cool. I do love, like I said, what's funny is I was getting up some of my old tech decks. Apparently, this is what I had. I didn't even have like
oh
a
yeah,
real tech deck. Well, it's a real tech deck, but it's just the
the
guy with
magnetized.
yeah, the magnetized guy. So that's what I used to play with because I was terrible with the fingerboards, and but to see them now, it's pretty great. I love them. I love all the graphics. The only thing I wish now that y'all maybe do is have a way to display them a little bit better. I don't know. I don't know a display area for all my Hot Wheels skate because I have no idea. I have no way of
Yeah,
knowing how to display these.
we're working on it.
Okay,
It was
sweet, sweet.
we had a lot of obstacles to overcome.
Hey, as long
So,
as I know there's something maybe in the works, I'll take it. I'll take it. Definitely. Um, what did the so how long did it take for Hot Wheels Skate to even happen? Because like it is sort of weird being this late into the game, I guess, of
yeah.
fingerboarding. How long did that take
Um,
for that to happen?
it took a year of just research and design to get it to where we wanted it. There's a lot of different ideas on the board, different ways like how are we going to make it, a fundamentally like fingerboarding to be able to take
Mm-hmm.
on tech deck, but how do we make it better or what's our place in the market? And then once we
Yeah.
kind of like verbalized that, then how do we physically apply it? So
Right.
and that's where design skills come in place, is looking at needs and then applying those needs in like a tangible realm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one time I got brought up on stage at like a Monster Jam event, and they asked me. I always say weird stuff. Like I'm known for
Okay.
my presentations. They're called Nealisms.
Mm.
Um, and so on stage, they're so Neal, you're a designer on Hot Wheels monster trucks. What do you do? And I was just like, I make dreams come true. It was like, and like the announcer was like, okay, and I like my design director was like, oh man.
Not again. No, no, no.
Um, but yeah, it's kind of just taking it's in your head. Now, how do you make it like a real thing?
Mm-hmm.
So it took us a year of just figuring out how to make it work. We've got our own design and the trucks and whatnot. It's different than tech deck. You
Yeah.
can't take them apart because what we know is that about if you're 6 years old, you're not gonna have that dexterity to take apart little tiny screws. Like we couldn't even get
Yeah.
like half of the people over 40 in our design building,
To do
like
that.
rebuilding like these little things. So they were like, we got to
Yeah.
cut that out, and that's gonna help our
Costs
our
down, I
target.
guess. Yeah.
Well, not even not cost.
No, not cost.
It's just
Okay.
it's gonna help our end consumer, which is
Mm-hmm.
smaller kids.
Got it. Now, I'm wondering, can you describe the discrepancy between the treasure hunts of because this is a big thing, is the
I
treasure hunt logo is used a lot on these Hot Wheels skates, and people are thinking, is that a treasure hunt? Is that not a treasure hunt? And then there's some that have the treasure hunt logo with treasure hunt around it. What was the deal with that? Like, uh, I guess what is the rarity sort of? Where did the rarity come from, and what was it to change some of the initial known things from diecast world to skate world?
don't hate me, but I have
Okay.
no idea. I was
Okay.
not involved at all. That was there's another side of the building that decides all that type of stuff.
Understood. I'll
Um,
have to find that person then. I
like
want to know, is this a treasure hunt or not? Because everyone keeps freaking out and I have no idea.
like that's like yeah, more of a like the design marketing side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not me.
Got it. Understood. We're not blaming you then. We're blaming
Yeah.
someone else for these
No,
silver treasure
I
hunt
I
logos
I have
everywhere.
to ask questions all the time. Like I'm like, what does this mean? I know it means something. I have no idea. Like, what am I holding? Because I've had like super rare, like one of a kind cars, and I'm just
Yeah,
why?
no idea. Yeah,
Like I'm no, because
who knows?
honestly, there's just hundreds of these cars all over the building. We have buckets
Mm-hmm.
of them, like just to play
Gosh.
with and test. So I never know what I'm holding, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Hey,
too much to keep up with.
if it
Yeah.
ever has a CM6 wheel, well, I guess not anymore because now they got the new Speed Machines line. But CM6 wheels usually Acceleracers related.
Okay. I mean, I visually, I think I
Usually.
know what they look like.
Yeah,
So,
usually, but hey, they used them on pretty much a lot of the older premium type stuff like Ferrari racers and speed machines, and some treasure hunts. You know what? Disregard what I just said because use it on everything. I feel like now, but yeah. yeah, that's about it, I guess. What was I was looking at some of the creature design of the Hot Wheels skate, and I gotta say it's pretty cool. Like I said, they got the piranha, you got the aquarium, and then you got an anglerfish type of skateboard. Was that sort of Mario taking from you, or you taking from Mario with like the skate track sets versus going into
we
design?
we pulled in a bunch of different designers to kind of give different takes and different flavors on things. What would happen a lot would be I would be so busy working on like physically the best possible configuration or a good shape. Like this is a feel good shape. This shape
Mm-hmm.
feels good, and I would just sit there and work on that stuff. And I would give the I guess 3D view
Mm-hmm.
or like a photograph of the set to someone else, and then they would do the styling, or they would
I
junk
see.
it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you just that's where it comes into the play of like, oh, I can't take full credit. I can't say I'm the designer or I created this
Right.
because like, a lot of aspects are there's so many things involved. You just got to take it to someone else to finish. And
Yeah.
as you get more seasoned as a product designer in this world, um, the more that you can take on, like the more valuable of a designer and the better designer you get to be. So, in the beginning, you're going to be working on all your models and all your sketches all on your own as you're cutting your
Mm-hmm.
teeth and you're learning how it works. But then, as you progress more, it's like, hey, we need you to handle like 50 different items this year. Well, I can't
Whew.
draw all those. I can't
Yeah.
model all those. I can't. So you start like learning how to um, parse it out to people. Like I
Yeah.
will, if I need something sketched up, I'm gonna have like the junior design. I'm gonna give it to the junior designer, which was my
Mm.
job as a
Okay.
designer early on. I was sketching on top of engineers' 3D drawings and giving it, that
Mm.
pizzazz and that life. So, but now I'm older. I'm giving my stuff for other people to style
I see.
up our model. So it just kind of depends, and it's never the same thing every day, which is great because I've had jobs where I had to do the same repetitive actions and it drove me crazy and I just could
Yeah.
not handle it. But this is very different all day, every day. You're never doing the same thing or the same task the same way. So yeah, Mario, would come up with some great characters. We had some other internal designers, like my manager, was a very big shoe guy. He loves shoes, so he did
Mm.
most of the shoe designs.
I see. Yeah.
The shoe ideas I wanted to do was like, oh, what if we put bread on our feet? So they're little ham sandwiches that you would walk around with, or like, or Crocs, or like,
Yeah.
and some they're like, no, let's do sneakers, and then we'll do, um, cockroach shoes later. But like,
Gotcha.
so you hand it off, and I don't know. So that's where a lot of the fun stuff about Hot Wheels skates came in because it was a very collaborative project, and you can see that with like there's all kinds of design elements from everything flying
Yeah.
in at you on this brand. So
Yeah. And
you,
and how was that final, reveal with Tony Hawk and stuff? You get to do this with Tony Hawk. What was that like, sort of?
um, that guy is very busy. He does
I
a
believe
lot of
it.
work and he meets a lot of people. And I was there with my kids, and he was nice. He was very nice with the kids because I think he knows that he's like kind of, he's the starter set for like
Mm.
a lot of people. So making sure that he is friendly and like personable with the kids really, goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it comes to adults, he's very nice and professional and like, oh, cool, you did that, awesome, great. But it wasn't like a buddy buddy, like,
Yeah.
oh, let's hang out and have dinner at each other's houses type deal.
Yeah.
And it honestly, it's just because you look at his Instagram and like how many places does he go? Like where is
Right.
he? He's everywhere. How many
Right.
people does he meet? Like it's so he's just got so much to keep track of. And most of the time I was working with his team,
Mm.
and they would get his final approval on things, but they would like they would be the first draft, so it has to get through
Yeah.
his designers and then it goes to him, and then he's like on a plane and he's like, okay, I like this, I don't like this, and then
Yeah.
he'll send it back. And
Wow.
um, so
Gosh.
and
Super busy
that's
dude.
yeah, and that's what working on licenses are like. I mean, it was
Hmm.
crazy when I was doing Star Wars toys, and I got to go to Lucas Ranch, but I never got to meet like George Lucas.
Oh,
But like,
yeah.
he's got levels of approval underneath
Mm,
him and all that.
right.
So it's but it's good experience getting to work with like these brands, and you learn a lot about the business side, and it's not all
Mm,
fun and games.
right.
I don't necessarily enjoy like just doing Spider-Man over and over and over and over again. Like, and I know there's the memes about like when you start getting the characters in like scuba gear, you're like,
Oh, what?
they have like Woody, like the Toy Story characters in
Yeah.
like scuba gear. You'll have Spider-Man and Batman in scuba gear. Like those are instances when you know the designers are just like slamming their heads on their desk, going like, "I don't want to do this."
I'm tired of Spider-Man. Make me
Yeah.
let it stop.
So like that's kind of like, oh, that's the sausage. Like I know how the sausage is made. There's
Hmm.
so it's traumatic for some people who just can't stand it. I know like, if Tim Burton used to hate working at Disney because he wasn't, his movies are not Disney, but he's a Disney designer. And he,
Yeah.
and he would hide in his closet in his office because he didn't want to animate like any more, Disney stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Well,
like the overkill, but um because my brand is like 6 years old, like 6-year old is like our current target perfect consumer for Hot
mm-hmm.
Wheels. I gotta keep my head in that game and you know balance that
Right.
out. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, you're actually the first guest I've had that still works at Hot Wheels. Every other designer I've had on was a designer, but now, well, funnily enough, Spin Master. He now works at Spin Master, so now I'm interviewing the other side of that. So, what's it like to still work at Hot Wheels all these years? And like, what keeps you there? Like you were saying with your relationship, the Street Fighter stuff, in the office, like. Is that just always just sort of what keeps you there and keeps you going?
I mean, it's a big part. I really, yeah. You like, you have friendships, you build relationships. You like your brands, you like your job. Um, like I was saying, it's never the same thing every day, and you get this. I guess there's a little bit of an ego thing where you get this celebrity push. There's a Hot Wheels designers are always signing autographs and going to
Mm,
conventions, and I've done one or two conventions. They're usually on weekends, and I want to be with my family, so most
yeah.
of the time I duck out. But I'll talk to people on Instagram. I get messages from people. I help young designers out. I speak a lot at my school,
Hmm.
at Art Center, on like design and entertainment design and the industry, and mentoring people. And it's I'm not going to say it's more interesting than, let's say, if you worked for like Kohler, which is like a faucet company. They
Mm,
probably get paid a lot more than I do doing high end
yeah.
faucet designs, but it's
Mm,
I don't know, people, I don't really see them kind of like people. What's it like? What's it like working there? Oh, you were part
yeah.
of my adulthood. Oh, you did the sink in my grandparents like house. I
Yeah.
really, I really like talking to people about what I do, and how much fun it is, and um, letting people know that you don't have to be a starving artist to
Mm,
use your talents and creativity, and because a lot of people don't know what product design or industrial design is, and honestly, before I
right.
learned those keywords, I never thought about who made toys. I thought it was graphic designers. They're like, oh, graphic
Mm-hmm.
designers do everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you sit down and think about it, you're like, oh, somebody did have to make this. Who made
Right.
it? What is that like? And then, um, yeah, I like it. It's fun. I get to make things that make people happy. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Well, I'm just thankful you were able to come on and share this and all this cool information of just behind the scenes, the little little hit back at Tech Deck and Spin Master, which
No,
is really funny.
it's a small industry and everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
So I know people that work at Spin Master, they don't care. People that, you know, like, because they do the same thing I do, but just different. Like,
Yeah.
they work on Paw Patrol. Okay, well, they worked on Hot Wheels
Hmm.
for 8 years before that, and like,
Right. Yep.
everyone knows everybody. Everything gets moved around.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, there's no real hard feelings.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, let's
And
do a speed round real quick because I know we just hit an hour, so I want to get you out of here before, I don't want you to stay too long. I know I've had people that go, hey, I kind of got a deadline, so let's do a speed round. Favorite Hot Wheels diecast?
oh, it it is the Vampira,
Okay,
just because it was like my first one, pretty much.
sweet. Favorite Hot Wheels skate deck? I think you already mentioned this one, but
The hamburger, killer
hamburger.
hamburger. Yeah,
Favorite track set that you've designed?
I've designed. Oh, it was probably the Hot Wheels or the monster truck downhill race and go. It was the
Mm,
large fold out
yeah.
race. Um, that was a popular one. It's fun. I do just like pitting Hot Wheels against each other and racing them. It's just
Mm,
like, who's the fastest? This one's the fastest. All
yeah.
right, next year
Yeah.
I'll get you my fast car. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
true. It's totally true.
It's a
What the 5 lane speedway is still probably one
Yeah,
of the most popular Hot Wheels track sets, so
yeah.
makes sense. Favorite section of Hot Wheels to work on out of all of the ones that you've worked on?
I definitely think it was Hot Wheels Skate.
Sweet, sweet. And if you could do anything there, what would be one thing that you wish to come true? Like what dream collab or something?
Dream collab with company or one thing that
It could be a company, a personality, a license, or like just what would you do if you were given the chance to make your own diecast, or it's really just up to you.
um well, I think I would like to probably do more fantasy hot rod diecast
Mm,
designs. I'm pretty busy with what I do though, so
yeah.
I do have some stuff that I'm going to start pitching up again pretty soon. Um,
All right.
but I really do like anime. So maybe like Gundam Hot
Yeah,
Wheels would be pretty fun
dude.
or something like that.
Hey, I'm
But
all for anime coming into Hot Wheels. I've been sort of it's been a while. It's kind of funny. You used to have Yu-Gi-Oh stuff all the time. They had
yeah,
the Yu-Gi-Oh license a long time
yeah,
ago. And I know people were like, "Where's all the Initial D stuff? And where's
yeah,
all the Atasha? There's a whole car culture there, and we only have one Atasha now, and it's all right.
yeah.
It's all right. Well, that is it for the speed round. Lastly, is there any place that people can find you?
My Instagram is pretty friendly. Within reason. I don't want to get hit with like 100 requests now all of a sudden.
Yeah, trust
Um,
me. Hey guys, be nice. Be nice.
yeah, I mean, you can try and hit me up on Instagram. I do like helping people. I talk to a lot of hobbyists or, younger designers as best as I can. I do like mentoring people. I have a few mentorship programs that I'm a part of. Yeah, I'm pretty friendly as long as there's nothing, pressing or going on.
Hmm.
And then I have a defunct YouTube channel. You can always hit me up on that and see what I'm doing. But I'm just it's a lot of upkeep.
Yeah.
I know if once when I have free time, I try to do something on it. I do like exploring lost media.
Hmm.
I like old tech, so I discovered some gems that lit the internet up for a while or two. So I'll just post, weird stuff, weird VHSs that I
Yeah.
find that I don't know.
Hey, if you ever
I'm
find those VHSs from the Hot Wheels 68 cartoon, you know, uh, ask Mattel. We need those already. Like we don't even know where those are anymore.
um like those would have been like on film, like reels, right?
Yeah,
Um,
probably. Probably.
if they had them, I'm sure they've tried to get them
Mm-hmm.
fixed, but I don't know. I haven't dipped into that that part of the archives yet.
I'm just
Um,
messing.
yeah, no. But
Well,
yeah, you can.
sweet. Thank you so much for coming on. And for me, you can find me on multiple different social medias: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Just look for JayCee squared. That's JayCee squared. JayCee squared for those that you don't know. And I want to thank the members who directly support the channel. You can do so by hitting that join button down below on YouTube. Acceleracers, Ratchet RPG 01, Road to the Dragon Lord, and Citrus 3. You guys make this happen. Thank you guys so much for your support. And yeah, with that, anything else to add?
No, just no, hang in there, guys.
Sweet. Like I said, thank you again so much for sharing your time and your passion with us. And with that, no more skateboard tricks now, kid. See ya. This has been the Square Corner Podcast. Music composed by Steve Rocket. Video and audio recording by Riverside.fm. Video and audio editing by JayCee Squared. Logo art by Miguel Martinez. And lastly, supported by you, the viewer. Thank you.